Lame.
that.
Anyway.
Where is it? Let me research it. What am I looking up? Let's see.
Spinach root.
Final
Spinach rag.
fantasy.
5.
VI.
Which is 6.
Spinach.
6?
Yeah.
Oh, right, 6.
Yeah, because V is 5.
Spinach
Right.
rag. Yeah, spinach rag extended. Spinach rag remastered.
Play the extended.
The extended is the one Alyssa was on.
Okay.
You gotta take out your headphones, dude. There you go. So we're writing a story about a guy named Spin.
Spin, not spine.
Yes, not Spine, even though that's what I came up with in the first place. So read the story as we have it thus far. Shalice.
Okay, so it begins with
The chapter title.
It begins with the chapter title, Ach. Or Atch, I guess you could say.
Ach.
Yeah, ACH. Begins. There once was a boy named Spin. Spin was a nice boy, but jumpy. Very jumpy. Every time he ran into something or someone tapped his shoulder, he screamed, Ah! And it has like 3 H's too. This gave him the nickname Spinach. He began to like his nickname so much that he began to seek out things having to do with spinach. His favorite food, spinach. His favorite song, Spinach Rag from Final Fantasy VI. His favorite color, spinach green. His biggest life goal, this is hard to read fast, was to own a field of spinach of over 10 acres. He even named his firstborn son Spinach, or he planned to. On his masterful quest to become the greatest spinach master of the world, he first needed to find some spinach. Unfortunately, he lived in the great city Crystal, where not even weeds grew, let alone spinach, just robots that people lived in, fountains that spewed the finest oils, and fantastical golden platinum archways. In fact, Spin had never seen a plot of farmland to begin with. His house was a meager 5,873 square miles, mostly underground, because who ever heard of building things upward? You'd fly off the planet. Everyone knows the story of Pompo D. Flanagan, who made a skyscraper so large it went way out into outer space, and the sheer force of solar winds blew the whole building off the planet. Never seen again, that guy. We all assume he was in the building at the time of the incident. His wife was distraught, but his children, all 9 of them, were quite upset because all of their hordes of toys were in the building at the time. This is all beside the point of our story, however, so we will leave it at that. Anyway, Spin couldn't find any suitable plot of farmland on his entire estate. His billions of servants couldn't find any either. In fact, most of his servants were living in laps of luxury with all the repair they could want. And after that point, we said something like, why would they want to anyways? It's spinach!
You
You
could
know?
just grow it in the
Yeah,
laboratory.
you could just grow it from cells in the laboratory or something like that. I don't know what you want to do next, but we found an app thing. I found an app thing that allows you to read books and write books. And so now we're writing a stupid book, and we only have like 1 chapter with 3 paragraphs about a guy named Spin.
Are you just gonna do backstory, or is there gonna be any dialogue?
I don't think so. Until he starts actually going on his journey, we're just gonna write the same way we have been, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, you know, that kind of... We want it to sound like it's just some guy
Narrating.
rambling on in some bar,
Yep.
half drunk, you know? It's just... Because he wants more beer, so he's like, I'm gonna tell you some random stupid story. Here we go! You know?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, what do you want to happen next? Like, actually.
Well, you gotta put in that part.
Hmm?
You haven't put down that people think they can just grow it in the lab.
Well, yeah, I don't need to write anything because we're taking a video, aren't we?
Yeah,
So
this way we can
basically,
transcribe it.
Yeah, we're just gonna kind of transcribe. We're not gonna transcribe the entire thing. It's gonna be random.
Unfortunately, Spin was something of an idiot.
He didn't realize that he could just, I don't know, grow it from cells in his lab underground.
And of course, he was too frightened to go out into the outside world himself.
So he needed a partner, a nice partner, not a robot, but like a little friend, like a dog or something. Like maybe like a spinach dog, a green spinach dog, a dog made of spinach. No, that wouldn't work. It'd die. What do you think?
It would die the second it went into the outer atmosphere because it was mostly toxic.
See, what with all of the gases coming out of people's houses, there wasn't really any air above ground, and that's why most people went out with a spacesuit or something similar, so they would not die as soon as they went out and got hit by thousands of solar rays. And
Except for
Dr.
those
Jesse-
guys who were too poor, who just
Except
used
for-
the extremely durable trash bags that they already had at hand.
Yes, extremely durable platinum trash bags. They were amazing, weren't they? Shiny and everything. Whole house was made of this stuff. Oh no.
But we're rambling again.
Yes, we're rambling again. Let's get back to the point. Oh yes. Bioengineering. So, he wanted to make a friend, but he couldn't make one out of spinach because there was no spinach in the first place. So, he decided, I will go to a different planet where there's lots and lots and lots of air and water and ground that isn't covered in giant metal, whatever those thingies are that look like giant spiders that are digging down into the ground all the time. Yeah, I'll do that. So he decided, I'm going to build a spaceship and go all the way out into space and to somewhere, who knows where there's actual ground to work with. Of course, he didn't realize that going to an alien planet it might mean that there's no such thing as what he calls spinach, but, you know, he's a kid, don't care, it's just, he wants spinach, so it's one of
He had nothing to lose.
literally nothing to lose except for his giant plot of land, all his friends, all his family, all his money,
And his thousands of servants.
and his thousands upon thousands of servants, yes. So, unless you haven't said anything.
So he decided to get on his local rocket ship league to try and find an expedition that would bring him somewhere that was green. Somewhere that was spinach green. He went there, and the local flight attendant was like, hello, how can I help you? And he was like, I would like to go to a place where there's spinach. And she looked up in her giant computer, about the size of your hand, you
With,
know.
like, holograms and stuff?
But her computer was the size of her hand. That is preposterous. Everyone knows you can just look at your fingernail and it's there. Why was she using something so big?
Because it was such a big database that even the tiniest, not even the largest computer of the time, the size of your whole finger, wasn't enough. She needed one the size of her whole palm.
And so with her handheld computer, incredibly heavy, of course,
A whole 2 grams. Whoa.
with her incredibly heavy computer, she looked up in the database someplace that had spinach on it. I'm sorry, sir, she said, but there are only 2, and they are an inconvenient 7 years away.
7 light years?
No, 7 years. Like you travel and it goes for 7, like you are going for 7 years, not the light. Everyone knows you can go faster than the speed of light nowadays.
That's true. Okay. Continue.
So anyway, she told him the bad news that it would take him 7 years of traveling at 20 times the speed of light to get there.
That's pretty far away.
Right? Yes. But anyway, the nearest green planet was 7 years away. Oh well, he thought, I guess I'll just go another day when faster than that speed travel will be invented. Because speed travel was heavily in the research market currently. They were upping the speed every day. So, 7 days later, he came back. What's the speed of travel now? Oh, it is now
3 years.
3 years away.
Going about 35 times the speed of light. A little better, don't you think?
I'll
Still not gonna
I'll come back next week, he said.
So, the next
did.
week, after waiting and waiting and sneezing,
And dreaming of spinach.
he came back and asked again, and she said, it'll take 2 weeks. And he thought,
That's reasonable.
it's reasonable, I think I'll take it.
Wait, he went from having a 7 year, okay.
7
Yeah,
years to
sorry.
3 years, and then it really sped up because everyone heard that this rich kid's son wanted to use it, and they're like, oh, we could get so rich, we could take all his money. That was their thought processes. I think it'll work, because this kid's an idiot.
Yeah.
Anyways, where were you going with this?
Okay, so it only took 2 weeks to get there. Fine, he said, I'll take the nearest rocket shuttle. And so he did. He took the rocket shuttle of the highest of technology because they had been shooting things out like nothing else with the rocket ship department.
Because they heard of an idiot who was willing to pay anything, and they were like, anything. So then we can have a 3 billion acre place with robots that we can live in and 1 billion servants. I'll take it. And they did. They took his whole estate, and he had literally nothing except for, like, I don't know.
2 servants and a dog.
2 servants, a dog made out of hot dogs because he didn't want it to be made out of spinach because he thought that would rot in outer space, and about $3 billion.
These were sentient hot dogs,
Yes,
by the
they
way.
were sentient, obviously.
Not very sentient.
Not
mind
very
you.
sentient, but enough to, like, slobber all over everything. You
Yes.
know? That kind of sentient.
Anyway.
On the spaceship. He was on the spaceship. He got on it with his servants who didn't want to be there but had to because they were being paid an awful lot. And the dog who literally drooled on everything.
So they traveled, listening to the spinach rag all the way there.
The servants were quite tired of it by the time they got there.
Quite repetitive a song, honestly. I
With
mean,
no ending, it just repeats.
it does. It just repeats after 2 minutes. They gotten so used to the song that they just started tuning it out as white noise halfway through the trip.
Yep.
It was just, you know, it's just there.
So anyway, he made it to the green planet.
You sure there weren't any mishaps? He had a drooly dog and 2 servants who didn't care.
Well, I'm sure there were, but he didn't care about those.
Fine.
He was just focused on the spinach.
So
Like,
we
sure.
landed on the planet, and wait a minute, is this the right place?
Looks around. Grassland. Looks the other way. More grassland. Where's the spinach? He cried. There's no spinach! I don't see any little green balls of leaves. Nothing. Just whatever these long green things are. And they're like, that's called grass, sir. Oh, grass! Throws it over his shoulder. I don't care.
I only want spinach.
And so the servants were in a bit of a bind because if they couldn't find the spinach, the trip would be cancelled and they'd have to go all the way back.
And listen to the spinach rag.
The
Again.
whole time. They didn't want to do that. They were sick and tired of this song and they wanted to get away from this crazy kid as fast as possible, which meant finding spinach.
Maybe, sir. There is spinach just beyond the horizon. Let us look. All right, let's go, he said with a crazy enthusiasm.
They got into the machine, the giant machine that could walk without crushing any plants because he didn't want to crush the spinach.
It had the finest of spider legs on the bottom.
Billions of spider legs just all over the bottom of it. Just so when they were moving, it was just like
It was almost like you were hovering above the planet, but you weren't.
you weren't hovering because hovercrafts are stupid and they don't even work and they're horrible to balance on. I don't think I need to explain further about that.
Yeah, like that one kid who fell off of it and ended up in the pool and had to swim all the way back home.
It was a
Everyone-
7-year-long pool, too, so he was quite buff by the end of it.
How the heck do you not wait?
Everyone knows that you carry your belongings on you these days.
Plus, there's the auto flotation devices and such.
Mm-hmm.
That would make a lot more sense than
Well, I mean, who goes out into the pool without these stuff?
professional
things.
swimmers. It's a lot faster when you're not floating like that. You know, like halfway out of the water. It's just so much faster. Because like when you're like that, you're just like you know.
But he was not a professional swimmer.
Oh yeah, he wasn't. So he
Yes.
had a flotation device. Wait, we've gone way off track again, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Anyway.
Where were we?
Yes, the spider legs on the robot.
Alright.
So it almost hovered, but didn't because we know that's dumb. And it wouldn't crash any of the plants on the planet until...
He wouldn't crash the planet either, though.
Whoever heard of that?
Even though it had like a secret death ray just in case of emergencies, but that's not important. That's a side note. Don't really care about that. So, on our way to the horizon.
It was just grass
Yes.
everywhere.
Yes.
For miles.
Yes.
For like the whole thing. The whole planet just grass.
Yeah, eventually that got to like a forest. Like there were a few rivers in between, but eventually it got to like a forest. With large trees. Very large. And he looked and he said, "It's green! Is that spinach?" And they're like, No, those are trees. And he's like, I want spinach!
As his head waggled back and forth
Yes.
in rage.
Why are you only filming me?
Because you're the one talking.
But when you talk, you never do. You just sit there.
I'm the cameraman.
No, you're
I don't.
not. You don't need to be a cameraman. You're using a phone.
Just stick it on the sill there, then we'll all be able to see
Yeah,
it.
you can just stick it right over there.
But what about my fancy whips?
You don't
Those
need,
are so
You
fun.
don't need whips. This is gonna turn into a book, isn't it?
Yeah. But still, it's fun.
Did the music just stop?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It did, didn't it?
Let me replay. Anyways, where were we again?
Okay, so they went into a forest, and in that forest there was a village.
There's a village.
Yes, a village.
How did they know?
Because there were houses.
How
But they
did
weren't
know?
like normal robot houses.
Yeah, they didn't look like anything they ever seen. Those aren't houses. They made like
Shanties.
things.
they made like trees.
Who does that?
Yeah, I know, right? Like, who uses trees and rocks? Like, that's just so dumb. Why don't you just use platinum or something? Or dig underground, for heaven's sake, you know?
Everyone knows a sensible house is made underground.
Yeah.
We even said so earlier.
Yeah, we did. So how'd they find them?
They're
So-
just wandering around.
They were wandering around, and they saw people walking. Above ground. Who does that?
Who walks anymore?
Yeah, who walks anymore? People float. Like, in their little pods. Like, they have, like, the floaty pods that are super awesome and comfy.
And actually livable in because
But
the
they-
atmosphere was dead.
They float in the pods. The pods don't float. They float in them.
The
And then
pods
they move around.
roll.
Yeah, the pods mostly just roll.
And you are like geocentric in the middle.
Yeah, like that. Where were we again?
So they found the people walking around on the ground.
Sorry. Yeah, they found the people that were crazy enough to walk around above ground and have trees out of wood and stuff.
And houses out of wood as well. Above
Yeah.
ground.
Above ground houses.
The
Out of wood.
audacity.
Yes. And then they walked up to them and said, "Okay, you crazy people who make houses out of wood."
And live above ground and walk around
Yeah.
without a spacesuit.
I want spinach. And they're like, they looked at him like, you know, just,
Just like, what are you talking about?
you know, that kind of thing.
hmm
They knew what spinach was because they'd seen it, but no one liked it. It was disgusting. No
Of
one-
all the things to want, why spinach?
Yes. They're like, you could have any other vegetable. Like carrots. Those are nice and sweet. Or snap peas. You can snap them and they're peas.
And then there's rutabagas. Those have a fun name.
They also have a weird flavor.
Yep.
So why spinach? And he's like, because my name is Spin.
And my nickname is Spinach.
And I want to be spinach. And they're like, you want to be spinach? And he's like, well, at least I want to have some. Because I've never actually seen it before.
That and we don't know how to transmute people into spinach beings yet.
Yeah.
When I figure that out, that's what'll happen. But in the meantime, I want to grow spinach. I want to
So-
be the greatest
yes.
spinach farmer in the universe.
Just nothing but spinach for acres.
I want to be a spinach master.
And they're like, have you ever eaten spinach? No. Have you ever seen spinach? No. Has anyone else ever seen spinach in your village? I don't know. I'd call it a village, but no. Alright, kid, we'll show you to some spinach. And they showed him into the town garden where a whole bunch of lettuce was growing. And they said, here's the spinach. And they pointed at the lettuce. He's like, is that spinach? And they're like, yeah, look, it has leaves, goes out of the ground, tastes kind of leafy, smells kind of leafy. Spinach.
His servants, though, being smart and knowledgeable, were like, that's not spinach.
That's iceberg lettuce. That's a little bit different.
He's like, oh, that's not spinach. I don't want anything that's not spinach. And so, knowing that they'd been found out, the villagers took him to their nearest spinach farm.
Which was like a day of walking away.
They had no spinach farms. The only spinach there was at that crazy old man, what's his face?
Old McDoon.
Old McDoon, that's right. Old McDoon was the only person crazy and stupid enough to grow spinach. And he only had, 3 plants? And they're all shriveled because he sucked at gardening, you know? And they went over and they're like, fine, if you want spinach so bad,
Take it.
take it. It's right there. Old man doesn't even have eyes. He can't see you do it in the first place.
And he's deaf, too.
He's deaf and blind, and he doesn't even eat the spinach. He just grows it till it's moldy. And he's like, perfect. I'll take one. Took the plant out of the ground, ripped out the roots. All right, now I'm going to plant this. And everyone around him face palmed immediately. This kid knows nothing about plants. They got it.
The servants went up to the machine that they'd been walking around in, and they used the grabby tool to pluck up an entire spinach plant and the ground underneath it.
So that it wouldn't die of death.
Yes.
Yes.
And then that was placed into a little terrarium of sorts.
Yes, and a little compartment in the side.
This is perfect, said Spin. I keep wanting to say
Spot.
spine. Sorry.
Don't call him a spine. It's his next door neighbor, the one who's crazy about biology.
Yes. So, Spin, very content with his spinach, thanked the villagers, and him and his servants went home.
Of course.
Only there wasn't anything to go home to.
Yes, there wasn't anything to go home to because in order to buy the ship ride to the place where the spinach was, well, for one, he had to have a spaceship. For another, it took billions of dollars to make the spaceship. For another, his family disowned him because he was spending so much money on this stupid spaceship. So the spaceship had no fuel. He didn't have a place to go back to anyway. And the servants didn't really care because once he found spinach, they were gone. So now he's all alone with his hot dog.
And his servants.
And his servants, who didn't want to be anywhere near him, but had absolutely no choice but to sit there and watch him
Try and grow spinach.
try and grow spinach.
They decided to team up with Old McDoon to grow a larger spinach farm.
The thing is, McDoon didn't care. All he did was stick random seeds he found in his garden, and one of them happened to be spinach. So he wasn't much help. And Spin wasn't much better, seeing as he had absolutely no experience farming. So the villagers eventually took pity on watching him do whatever that was.
Mostly
And they-
just poking at the
Yeah,
ground
mostly just
and yelling
poking-
at it.
Poking in the ground and yelling at it to grow for weeks, that wouldn't work very well, would it? So they eventually took pity and started teaching him how to grow plants. And he's like, I don't care about other plants. And they're like, well, if you grow spinach wrong, it'll die and then you won't have any other chances. And he's like, okay, I'll listen.
And so the villagers teamed up with Spin and his servants to plant the largest spinach farm on their world. A meager 2 acres.
Of course, he didn't know very much about measurements, so it actually didn't matter too much how big it actually was. Seeing as there's so much space on the planet, it didn't matter even if he took up 15 acres, let alone 2.
But anyway, so he planted to his heart's content and actually became the farmer that he wanted to become.
Tanned and everything.
With a straw hat.
With a straw hat? Why a straw hat?
It's from all the straw farmers earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Because then all that cattle just kind of roamed around the grassy plains.
Mm-hmm. One time, the cows got into his spinach farm. He was very upset because they trampled all over it.
Yes, he killed half of them with his laser gun. And then his laser gun died, so he couldn't kill anymore. And everyone else hated him very much for that. You just wasted half our cows, they said. And they're not even edible anymore, because now they're just piles of goo. That exact face.
Yep.
I wonder, can you use emojis in that?
I don't know.
I'll have to find out later.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But anyway, so he lived somewhat happily ever after. The crazy old man.
He got old because there wasn't like the normal stuff to keep you alive for 6,000 years on that planet, was there?
No.
Did he ever get married?
No, he never had children either. So his legacy died with him. And his hot dog went moldy.
So what did they do with it? Did they just bury it? What did they do?
Well, one of the cows ate it.
The cow.
Yes. See, these are carnivorous cows.
I know there's more than one type of cow, but I thought he killed half the cow? Oh wait, they were taking... Okay.
Yes.
Half the cows ate meat, though, so they lived out in the forest, not the grasslands. They didn't even look like cows. They were more like furry. Their fur was a lot longer. Their tails were longer. Their legs were shorter. They were less fat. They had pointy ears. And their snout was a lot smaller. They had a little black nose and like sharp teeth. Now that I think about it, those were called wolves, not cows, weren't they? I'm pretty sure.
No, they were cows.
Do you think so?
Yeah, they were cows.
I mean, they only said cows lived there, so I guess they'd be called cows, but I think the villagers were just pulling his leg. They did that thing, sort of thing, all the time, though. They'd like make fun of him or trick him, because he was so dumb. He was so strong, they're like, just... dumb. He was very dumb. So, yeah, dog-eat-dog sort of thing. Dog-eat... hot dog.
So thus ended the tragic life of the self-centered man named Spin.
Of course, I mean, it's not like the rest of the planet was any better than him. I mean, with the completely destroyed atmosphere, completely dug out ground, the core of the planet was starting to crumble because they dig so far into the ground to get all that platinum and gold for their random arches all over the place. What's the point of all those arches? They're pretty, I guess.
To flaunt their wealth, I
Yes,
guess.
they were so wealthy that they could destroy the planet and have arches. You know? So is that the end?
Yes, I think that's the end.